Eastern Cape region. The strikers launched a fresh round of industrial action to press for the doubling of their wages, which is currently the equivalent of €6 a day. I just came out of the house and got shot. All we want is that they give us the 150 rand, then we will do the work as the farmers want it, like we did for years. This latest bout of industrial action follows unprecedented work stoppages in the country, including a miners' strike that turned violent and left more than 50 people dead. 15 Russian sailors detained in Nigeria are to appear in court. Their ship was intercepted by the Nigerian Navy in October. It was allegedly transporting some 40 assault rifles and a large quantity of ammunition. The vessel is said to have left the Cook Islands in the South Pacific and arrived in Nigeria's waters without permission. The intended destination or planned use of the arms was not clear. Moscow has called for the release of the entire crew. The 5 nations of the Arab Maghreb Union have created an investment bank with a $100 million capital with an equal participation from each country. The bank will launch operations in March. Its headquarters will be based in Tunis. The bank will finance infrastructure projects in Libya, Algeria, Morocco, Tunisia and Mauritania.
The Venezuelan Supreme Court has postponed the swearing-in ceremony of ailing President Hugo Chavez, who is still recovering in a Havana hospital. Meanwhile, Vice President Nicolas Maduro and Cabinet will continue steering the affairs of the Latin American country. But as we hear in the CFI report, the Venezuelan opposition is accusing the Supreme Court of meddling into politics.
Hugo Chavez will not be sworn in as president on Thursday because of health reasons. Mr. Chavez has been in Cuba for the last month, convalescing after surgery for cancer. However, the Venezuelan Supreme Court ruled yesterday that Mr. Chavez could be sworn in at a later date, as doing so was not an infraction of constitutional law.
The executive powers will continue to exercise their functions fully, based on the principle of administrative continuity. This is how the Constitutional Court has interpreted Article 231 of the Constitution of the Venezuelan Republic.
In the meantime, the Vice President and his cabinet will remain at the helm until Mr. Chavez is able to take the oath of office.
In the name of the legitimate government of the President, the leader of our motherland, who was re-elected by the Venezuelan people, the government shall obey the decision handed down by the Supreme Court, whose word is sacred.
The ruling was long expected. The opposition accepted it with reservations, but warned that the decision did not end the uncertainties raised by the President's absence. However, the leader of the opposition, Enrique Capriles, defeated by Chavez in the presidential election, said the Supreme Court had become ensnared in party politics.
The Supreme Court chose to resolve a problem facing the ruling party. So all I can say to Venezuelans is that I am an example. And excuse me for speaking in the first person of how one must fight against a judicial system that does not work.
However, Mr. Capriles discouraged his supporters from taking to the streets to protest the court's decision, saying that by refraining from doing so, they were helping to build a better country.
As the plight of Syrian refugees intensifies in northern Jordan, the winter weather is making conditions even more difficult in many camps. Families live in cloth tents that do very little to keep out the cold. Women use coal stove to stay warm. Others sit on snow to wash dishes, while children stay without adequate clothing. CNN's Nick Peyton-Wells visited the camps in northern Jordan, and he now reports.
In Jordan, life was supposed to get better for these Syrians, but in Zaatari camp, lives are collapsing all over again. These flatlands conjuring unimaginable cold, rain, wind, and simply too many people to fit. Some nights, nearly 2,000 Syrians arrive here. It can't grow fast enough. There were children sleeping inside, he says. See what happened. Water destroyed here, this family's second home in 4 months. Fire led by the regime, destroyed their first in the city of Dara. They destroyed everything, he says. We left the house because it was burned. They destroyed the house, she says. The police came in and burned it. There's water in the tent, inside, everywhere around. All our blankets are destroyed. They have lost their original homes to the war, but now in the dead of night, their new tents so often flooded with icy cold rainwater, causing thousands of people in this camp to seek drier areas if at all possible. And still, every night, hundreds pour in, seeking refuge, even here, from the escalating violence inside Syria. They pack up, hoping for new tents, but in these icy storms, without solid prefab housing, it's a matter of time until they may move again. The UN say they can't afford to do more.
About 20% of the population is under the age of 4. Like, we're getting children 5 days old, 9 days old, 10 days old, and they're coming across in these sort of conditions. We knew this was coming. We knew that the weather was going to get worse, and it's not going to be the last of the wet weather and the snow, unfortunately.
So why isn't there more prefab housing if you knew it was coming?
It's money. Simple as that. Like our funding is about 25 to 50% of what we asked for.
So far, the UN insists, despite rumours flooding the camp, children are not dying of the cold. But they are simply holding back the tide. Snow is coming. French soldiers providing medical care to those who reach their tiny field hospital. What are the kind of injuries you see?
Essentially war injuries, shrapnel wounds, gunshot wounds, explosions.
The trauma of 22 months' brutality evident in the faces of the old and of the young. Numb, perhaps, but tellingly finding this cruel world better than the maelstrom they left behind. Nick Payton-Walsh, CNN, Zaatari refugee camp, Jordan.
Time now to take a second break. We'll be right back.
Lucozade Energy, energizing Gambia.
Gambia, I am Miss Fatu A. Drame, second runner-up of the second batch of Miss 22nd July Scholarship Pageant. I have written a book and proudly launching it under the sponsorship of His Excellency Sir Professor Dr. Alhaji Yahya AJJ Jammeh. This book is called The Breakthrough.
Breakthrough the Gambia is a book written by Miss Fatu A. Drame. The book is an epic collection of poems, riddles and stories, some of which are written in appreciation of the President's Breakthrough Program.
And most importantly, empowering young people to discover their hidden talents.
The grand launching of the book is this Friday, 11 January 2013 at the Jama Hall, Kairaba Beach Hotel, commencing at 5 p.m.
If you really believe in the Pan-Africanism of His Excellency the President and the treatment program, come out in your thousands and show it out.
The general public is invited to this auspicious occasion, proudly sponsored by His Excellency the President, Chef Professor Dr. Alhaji Yahya AJJ Jammeh.
We hope to see you all.
Well, time now to join the Central Focused Office for a look at the weather report.
The source assures us of a continuous flow, and from there, everything follows. And for those of us who know what the River Gambia stands for, understanding its sustainability in all aspects of life is easily confirmed. The River Gambia provides nutritious delicacies as food, while it provides its wildlife a balanced ecosystem. This river, as a sanctuary, is committed to its inhabitants' needs without season. And as you travel along, all these values are replicated in one company, Elton. Just like the River Gambia, leads in its commitment to values that matter most. Elton, championing the vision for a new generation.